Hello and welcome to another video where I've been asked to come around this lovely elderly lady's pond. She's not long had it refitted by somebody and they've not really hidden the liner at all, not given many planting options. So the lady called me in to see if I can get some more plant life in here for her, tidy it up a bit, just try and make it a little bit more pretty. And I'm also going to add a dragonfly perch for her as well in this lovely little wildlife pond in this beautiful garden that she has here, quite local to me. So I first came around here a couple of weeks ago to have a look and to quote, and these hadn't developed yet. These marsh marigolds hadn't really kicked in. But the main issue we've got, first of all, when you walk up here, there's so much of this liner exposed for a start. It's not had a proper edge treatment, not been folded in. Again, there's more on show there, around the edges there. So I will do my best with that. But the key thing the lady wanted was some more colour and plant life in this pond. She has got little fountain that she turns on and off now and then, but this is mainly a wildlife pond. But again, the issue we've got, they've not covered the liner, and they've not obviously done the fleece method to protect the liner. And as you may or may not know, it's sunlight, UV rays that will harm a liner more than anything. So the fact that this is looking directly at the sun all day is going to shorten its lifespan, plus the fact it just looks horrible. I hate seeing liner. So again, if this was a traditional wildlife pond, this would be fleece, liner fleece with a subsoil layer, sort of 100-150 mil of low nutrient subsoil to plant the plants directly into. That way you won't see any of the liner and the plants can be planted where you like on the shelf. There is a shelf here, but it's just, you're stuck with these horrible looking baskets, which I'm not a fan of, but there's nothing else to plant into. And again, if I'd have done from scratch an aquascape ecosystem pond, it would have been rocked and gravelled, and the plants could be planted directly into the gravel, taking the nitrates out of the water, keeping the algae down that way. So we're going to need some more plants in here. That's going to help control the algae. The lady said her and her daughter have been pulling out the algae, but as you can see, there's a few clumps around which I will pull out while I'm here, clean out some of this leaf debris for the lady. I will be using some planting pockets and pots if I can't get what I want into a half decent substrate, using some cobble and some river gravel in here. So it might be a combination of some little baskets, which I will do my best to cover. Again, I don't like using them because I don't like how they look, but again, I can't go back to scratch with this. The lady spent a lot of money having a guy come in and do this for her that she's not really happy with, so she can't afford for me to come in and say, right, I want to rip it out, start again. So I'm sort of trying to do a nice little turn for this local elderly lady. She's got a beautiful garden here. I'll show you some of it later, some lovely plants. But before we get started, the important thing is the lady's maybe a lovely cup of coffee with some chocky bickies, so it'd be rude not to have those. And also to show you, she's got some newts in the pond, which she's worried she's got a load of frog spawn. So I gave her some advice on how to look after these frog spawn, take out the pond so the newts don't eat them. So she's found this lovely old sink here, and she's got a lovely selection of tadpoles in here, which once they start getting their legs, she's going to be putting back into the pond, and hopefully they'll be able to fend for themselves a little bit more against the 2 or 3 newts that are in this pond. So as you've just seen, I've just redressed this front edge here. I've given the liner a bit of a fold over return edge, put some wash clean gravel and cobbles back down. I've got another little pile there. I've got some more in the van. I'll be washing these in a bucket before I put them down. Obviously there's still some more liner on show to do, but what I'm going to be doing now, I've got some spare 1mm EPDM liner. I'm going to be cutting that into a couple of different layers. I'm going to be layering that on top of this liner here to give that some protection before I start putting these larger rocks and new gravel in there to try and create some planting beds. I'm just going to take you for a walk down this customer's beautiful garden. You see a white butterfly there. I've seen a couple of them today, plus a brimstone, which is always lovely. All these lovely coloured forget-me-nots down here. Got the bluebells here. Unfortunately, and this is the customer saying it as well, these are the Spanish variety, not the English variety of bluebell, which she's most upset about, bless her. I say, she's 93 years old, absolutely loves her garden, and if I'm looking as well as she is at 93, I'll be more than happy. So we've got all this lawn, lots of shrubs, some roses, some camellia, these lovely tulips down here, this lovely old brick pathway as we head down towards the wildlife pond you've seen me working on. So I'll show you in a bit more detail in a minute, but as you can see, I've addressed all this edging problem where the liner was on show with some more stone and cobbles. I've created all these planting edges, so the plants that I put in, I've got a couple of marsh marigold, I've got some hard rush, I've got a spiral rush, there's white pickerel in there. Providing a substrate for them to plant straight into is much better than these baskets. Again, I've obviously had to keep the baskets that are in here. I've managed to disguise this one on this corner here so it looks like it's actually growing from the pond rather than a horrible plastic container. But yeah, planting into the substrate takes the nitrates out of the water. It's the nitrates which help the algae develop. So the more plants you've got directly into the water, and they're not feeding on composters and aquatic soil, you know, in the baskets, which they're feeding off that rather than the chemicals in the water, all the better. And also, as you've seen, the newts are absolutely loving this, all this new substrate to explore as well. Again, all these cobbles I put in here, these are all going to be hidey holes for when the tadpoles and other small aquatic life is in this pond. Hides the liner. Like I say, the more the liner you can hide, you're going to be saving it from UV exposure, which is going to shorten its life. So we've got all this planting and substrate around this side here. Got the dragonfly perch nicely secured there with that rock in place. And again, around this side where I showed you a second ago, where I've disguised that plastic pot there with some rocks and some small cobbles there. I've just sort of planted that edge there. I'm not going to be able to get all of this liner covered because as the bank slopes away, obviously cobbles and the pebbles are going to want to slide into the pond. Again, this is the whole reason why it should be done properly in the first place. Your shelves slightly sloping this way, and then you build up your levels as you go, and everything's secured on top of each other. But I've done what the customer asked, and it looks a lot better. I think you agree. Lots more plant life in there, lots more hidey holes and habitat for the wildlife that's going to be in and around this pond. So excuse the hair, it's gone a bit fluffy. Sun's out now, but it was a bit breezier earlier. If you like what I've done with this pond, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It all helps support my channel, helps my business. And again, if you'd like me to come and do some work for you in your pond, I'm based on the south coast of England, in a little village called Stubbington on the south coast near Fareham in Hampshire. But I will travel, and yeah, see you soon.